in with the residents, to involve the residents in the formulation and implementation of plans that will affect them in a daily basis. It is my wish that residents are involved when making a municipal decision. At the end of the day, this election is not about Dr. Teo Ho Pin versus Kong Wai Yin. It is not. This election, it all boils down to what the candidate of Singapore Democratic Party can do, which the candidate of PAP can't. The SDP candidate can speak up on your behalf in Parliament without fear or favour. We are able to offer fresh and diverse perspective that differs from the groupthink mentality that permeates through the ranks of PAP members. It is also talking about servant leaderships seriously instead of the other side where they make you the servants of leaders. My friends in Holland Bukit Timah, Marsiling UT, Bukit Batok, Bukit Panjang and Yuhua, please cast your vote for the party that can bring about a balance to the current lopsided parliament and give us the chance to raise your parliament. Let us be your voice in parliament. I'm going to leave these last few sentences for fellow Singaporeans to think about. The SDP has formulated all these policies with little resources and zero MPs in Parliament. Can you imagine the positive impact that we will be able to make with 11 MPs in Parliament? My friends, let us make that happen on 11th of September. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tan. How are you all feeling? Good? It's a really hot day, and we know that you're taking your precious lunchtime to be here with us this afternoon, and we here at the SDP really, from the bottom of our hearts, really appreciate it. So please give yourselves a big round of applause. Now, for our next speaker, our next candidate, well, when I was speaking to her just now, she said that she was feeling a little nervous. I would feel nervous too. I am nervous. Any one of you would be nervous standing up here on stage in front of the world, in front of the whole country, speaking. But she is willing to come up here to speak for you, for Singaporeans, because she believes in you, in Singapore. So please, when she comes up, please give her your 100% support. Please put your hands together to warmly welcome Ms. Chong Wai Fah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's so nice to see so many of you here this afternoon. Some of you are here because you already believe in the SDP. Some of you are here because you have not decided come Friday what your choice will be. To both groups, thank you so much for coming here and giving us your precious lunchtime to listen to what we have got to offer. The past 2 weeks have certainly been one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences. As a candidate for the coming general election, I have been inundated by calls and text messages from friends. Some expressing surprise that I joined the SDP. Others for making a stand for what I believe in. It has not been an easy decision. You all know by now that I work in a nursing home. You see, working with the elderly is what I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do something to make a difference to the lives of Singaporeans, no matter how small. It saddens me to see the elderly struggle to walk in pain because they could not afford to pay for elective surgery. I can understand why they chose to take the risk of jaywalking when the pedestrian crossing is probably 20 meters away, because every step hurts. It pains me to see the elderly who becomes homebound because they cannot afford to pay for cataract surgery, or someone who becomes isolated and cannot interact with their families because they cannot afford to buy a hearing aid. In every single one of them, I see my grandparents, my aunties, my uncles, and one day eventually, it may be me. Why don't the elderly get the medical and surgical care that they so desperately need? Why can't their family pay for their medicine? Didn't our government promise that nobody will be denied health care if they need it? Will I have my father's bypass surgery if he needs it? Many of the time, these elderly have children. Their children are probably like you and me, okay, to provide for our parents and our children. And if we work a little bit harder, perhaps we can save enough for our retirement. However, it is getting increasingly difficult with the rising cost of living. We have to service our housing loans, children's education and enrichment classes, overseas trips for our children to broaden their horizon, insurance care bills. Our parents, in their wise ways, know that there will be a burden on us should they need medical treatment, and soldier on bravely. Our country has progressed immensely the past 50 years. You can see this on SMEs and a general unhappiness about the presence of foreign labour in Singapore. We know that in this very competitive environment, we can lose it and without warning. Companies can downsize or move out of Singapore completely, leaving us without jobs. Or we can be replaced by others who are willing to do the same jobs at much lower cost. It happens. If you are a PMET in your 40s, what are your chances of getting a similar job at the same pay? It is increasingly unlikely. Even if you are willing to be underemployed, many companies may not want to hire you. It is a scenario that we wish will never happen to us. But the reality is, it can, and one day it may. What then do you do while you search for another job? Besides the minimum wage recommendation for lower income retrenchment insurance to help Singaporeans and their families tide over the unexpected layoffs, it is called the Re-employment and Temporary Assistance for the Retrenched scheme. Given a choice, we all want to be gainfully employed, don't we? Like any other insurance scheme, it will be co-funded by the employer, the government. This is one of the measures, amongst others, that the SDP proposed as a new economic vision for Singapore. It should not be looked at in isolation, but in conjunction with the other measures, such as abolishing the CPF minimum sum. Increased social security is the best, unlike some people. Alternative policy for you to view and make your comments. While we strive to maintain our position as a global player, let's not forget those who have fallen behind in this fast-paced environment. More details about SDP, that therefore is secret. The current government has created much fear in us. It is highly people still fear voting for the opposition will compromise their career, their next HDB flat application, or their children's scholarship. Or any other political parties. No one besides you will know. I know that for the purpose of identifying who voted for them, it is there to prevent fraud. With the serial numbers, ballot papers cannot be counterfeited. It also allows the Election Department to check that the number of papers found in the ballot box and the possibility of ballot boxes being stuffed with false ballot papers. For all its inadequacies, we should have some faith in the Elections Department. After the election results have been announced who are present will observe this process. They may also place their own seals on these boxes. These boxes will then be moved by police escort and retained in safe custody for 6 months at the Supreme Court. During those 6 months, these documents can only be retrieved by court order. Our courts have issued no such removed from the vault and burned. So your vote is secret. Vote to make your views heard. I did not join the SDP because I am anti-PAP. Neither did I ask, what can I gain from this vibrant and dynamic society based on pluralism and diversity? That we can establish an economic system based on free market and equal opportunities. That we should remove practices that discriminate against the less fortunate of your future. After all, this is our home too. We want this place that we call home to progress to SG100 as well. Vote SDP for better future because we care about everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Now for our next candidate, please warmly welcome for candidate for Boston UCGRC, Mr. Brandon.
He's sure I was made a bankrupt. He had many job opportunities overseas. He could have packed up and left for greener pastures. However, he turned them down because he has never given up on his political conviction. Most importantly, he has never given up on Singaporeans. The Dr. Chee I've known all these years is completely different from what the mainstream media has labeled him. The Dr. Chee I know is a humorous, resilient, sincere, intelligent, and most importantly, a patriotic person. In my days with the party's youth wing, the Young Democrats, he often encourages me, mentors and supports me. Dear friends, you must understand that when you add an authoritarian government to an obedient press corps, the combined strength is the biggest obstacle to the truth. Do you know, my friends, Dr. Chee has won recognition and adulation from many international organizations in the political community. His awards include the Defender for Democracy Award from the Global Parliamentarians for Action and Liberal International's Prize for Freedom. Dear friends, please give a thought to this. If Dr. Chee wasn't doing this for Singapore, then why would these organizations recognize his political efforts and struggles? Why would these international organizations present awards to a politician whom the PAP has labeled as a neckdog and cheat? I'm sure the intelligent minds will have provided you with the obvious answer. Despite all the difficulties that Dr. Chee has faced, he has never bowed down to all this political bullying. In fact, not only did our party grow stronger, citizens who once critical of him heaped praise on his ability to maintain party professionalism and most importantly, and I'm one of the new blood. website, on our Facebook. They are great testimonies of what I just said. Dr. Chee has also been accused of ousting Mr. Chiang Si-tong from the SDP. Now, thanks to the social media, this myth has been broken. No, it was Mr. Chiang who had resigned on his own accord. Chiang stuck by his decision. The way the traditional media twisted the truth and report the issue non-factually is absolutely shambolic. It is no wonder my friend once told me that the only thing factual about local newspapers is the date. In early 2011, Mr. Chiang and political commentator Dr. Wong Wee Nam had discussed plans for Mr. Chiang to return to the SDP's fold. Mr. Chiang was aware that we acknowledge him as the founder of our party in all ways, and the party has never closed our doors on him. Our party has always held the belief that if Mr. Chiang rejoins the SDP, the electorate will take this as a positive sign of opposition unity. The Chiangs had a few round of talks with Dr. Chee. The joint proposal was for Mr. Chiang to return as a mentor of the party and lead the GRC team in the 2011 general elections. Dr. Chee even helped Mr. Chiang prepare the speech on SDP's podcast and planned a series of events leading to his imminent return by our party's anniversary dinner. Unfortunately, the joint events were too sudden and wanted to postpone the plan. The whole proposal eventually collapsed, and with it, nonetheless, no one could deny that Dr. Chee had willingly made way for Mr. Chiang to head the party. The party he had made so much sacrifices for. My friends, if this is a display of Dr. Chee's selflessness, then I don't know what is. Or there was a day in 2001 when I posed Dr. Chee this question. I asked, Dr. Chee, the SDP seems to advance for local politics. Do you think we'll be able to break this political stalemate? His reply was, Brian, the tide of democracy is sweeping across Asia. Look at South Korea, look at Thailand, look at Taiwan, and even democracy will hit our shores, and the PAP cannot do anything about it. Dr. Chee added, Brian, the day will come, so let us just wait patiently. You know what, my friends? I strongly believe that this day will be certain. You will use the vote in your hand to tell the PAP they have to respect your views before making politics. You will use the vote in your hand to demonstrate that you do not need natural aristocrats to rule over you. You will use the vote in your hand to demonstrate your wisdom, courage, and strength. In the last elections, the SDP was the most improved party. However, immediately after the last one, we have formulated alternative day and night. We visit the electorate to explain to them our policies that the SDP is a competent, constructive, and competitive party. Do we want Dr. Chee's political sacrifices to go to waste? Then shall we grant the Prime Minister's wish and send a tiger like Dr. Chee to Parliament? Dear friends, use the phone in your hand to make PMD happy. Let's see the man a tiger. Please vote for Dr. Chee and the other 10 SDP candidates on September 11. Let us see your voice in Parliament. SDP! Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. To assist us as polling and counting agents, as well as to follow us on our walkabouts. So, if you are interested,
Dr. Chee.
Thank you. If you tell that to me on Friday with your votes. Being an honest meeting, however, does not mean that we have to slog
open up to raise the
for
level
hours day in and day out
to get our
just to make values
system
a
into a new era
sustainable
where we
way.
can hold this government accountable and have a good contest of
Except for the period of recession, we usually see our wage
there's a lot of
increase a little bit each year. That's good, of course, that's good. Our purchasing power is getting smaller. Meaning, you and I, we are getting. When two wolves and a lamb meet together to discuss for dinner, guess what the decision is going to be? It's a bleak picture, isn't it? But isn't the government supposed to protect us? To look out for our welfare? Well, the problem is, also known as GLC.
From what I know, right, if it's choppy and just very
I
good
leave
because
that to you
the final
to
video
answer that
will
question
be
yourself. Actually, look after your interests. Again, I'm sure you can figure that out. Well, two wolves and a lamb. That is a big picture, isn't it? Yes, it is, but at last, it gets worse. What about the trade union, you ask? They would certainly represent us, right? Right? Well, let me put it in colloquial. By right, the trade union should be representing our foreign workers to be cheaper, better, faster. Cheaper, better, faster. Better, yes, I like that. But cheaper? He wants you to be cheaper. Can you believe it? Your very own you in the national wage to be cheaper. To me, that is totally disgusting. Cook dinner, we got ready, he get called up at the job place. By the time he comes home, the kid's crying, I'm too hungry to wait, the kids cannot wait anymore, food
becomes full. Every day, not just once in a while. So I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this coming Friday, put us into Parliament. Let us be your voice in Parliament. That's the only way we can present your view to the government. Everything that we say out here is useless if we continue to say it out here. They will only pay attention when we are in Parliament and say that in there. So, ladies and gentlemen, put us in. Tell the government enough is enough. The workers must be empowered. We want our lives back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Now, are you all still hearing me? Good. And our next speaker, to be a clue, is a health expert. Presenting to you, our candidate for the Hong Kong Constituency, Dr. Paul Anand.
Friends, fellow Singaporeans, thank you all for coming for this rally at this historic site. 4 years ago, I spoke at the SDP rally during GE2015, and I felt a sense of awe at the memories of Mr. David Marshall, Mr. Lim Chin Siong, and Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, and all the great orators who had spoken near this venue. In that earlier speech, I spoke about the gaps in our healthcare system. One of my former students recorded the speech, and the speech went viral. Many people thought I would lose my job at the university. In fact, every time I went to Mount Elizabeth Hospital to visit a friend, someone would come up to me and say, "Oh, so they finally fired you." On the contrary, in fact, in 2013, 2 years after the speech, and 1 year after the SDP healthcare plan, I was promoted to full professor with tenure. Singapore has really changed. The knuckle-duster era is well and truly over. And this election proves it. Just look at that. Roy Ngan and Han Kui Kui are out there giving interviews to the media, something that is unthinkable a few years ago. I'd like to begin my speech proper by addressing some of the concerns raised by DPM Tharman about our alleged tax and spend policies. Now, I know this may not be popular with the Shenton Way crowd, but as Dr. Chee said on Saturday, we'd rather tell you the truth than get in by trying to mislead you. So first of all, however, I'd like to commend DPM Tharman and some of his colleagues for contesting this election on the issues, rather than on the gutter politics of the past. I would also like to put on record my view that DPM Tharman is probably the most brilliant of our current ministers, and many of us think he will make a fine Prime Minister. In fact, to tell you a secret, there are many of us in the alternative parties who hope that one day DPM Tharman will have a minister and will come out to lead a grand coalition of opposition parties, Pakatan Raya, to present a real alternative to the current CAP government. Having said all that, though, I'd like to take issue with a number of points that he made in his widely circulated rally speech. First of all, as mentioned yesterday, the SDP healthcare plan is not about free healthcare, but a national healthcare plan that provides basic healthcare. As in other countries which are high-performing, if you are rich and you want Orchard Road kind of services, you can always pay for it. but the middle class will not feel the need to do so with our comprehensive health insurance plan. Secondly, it was good of Minister Tharman to acknowledge that the government has shifted its policies to the left around the globe. We all know that this process accelerated in 2011 when there were 7 WPA. In fact, thanks to a parliamentary question by Mr. Gerald Young, we now know that MediShield is probably the world's most profitable public healthcare insurance policy in terms of its medical loss ratio. We need many more opposition MPs in Parliament to see through the complexities of Singapore's healthcare system to ensure that Singaporeans have true peace of mind. Now, Singapore has very good doctors, nurses, and allied health teams. We have access to some of the best drugs in the world, but unfortunately, all this is very expensive. The proposed solution, MediShield Life, by including those with pre-existing conditions, has got way too many holes in it to provide genuine relief for Singaporeans. For MediShield Life, the deductible is very high. You have to pay the first $1,500 to $3,000, depending on which class of hospital you stay in cash. So they have to depend on their children's Medisave, which puts an additional burden on the next generation. For those without children, it's even worse. This is really, really unfortunate because Credit Counselling Singapore has data which shows that medical expenses are among the top 5 reasons for bankruptcy in Singapore. Furthermore, the premiums in MediShield Life increase with age and subsidies expire in a few years. That means, yet again, the children and grandchildren will have to pay the premiums for senior citizens. This puts a significant burden on the next generation, which is already squeezed on one hand, and then the cost of looking after their parents on the other. This kind of generational cost shifting by the PAT puts a huge burden on citizens, which is simply not sustainable. Thirdly, DPM Tharman questioned our proposal to raise taxes on the top 1% of income earners to levels that they were in Singapore in the year 2000. He said the top 1% were mobile and could move out of Singapore if they wanted to. We disagree. In the past, the top 1% is the Lee Kong Chian, the Tan Kah Kee, Tan Chin Tuan, the Al-Satos, the P. Govindasamy Pillays. They did not hold the government of the day hostage by saying that if Singapore raised the taxes, they would run away. No. On the contrary, they paid their taxes and they made significant contributions to Singapore in terms of building schools, hospitals, community services, and etc. That is the kind of top 1% we want. The boys, the tax evading Europeans and Australians, the Burmese drug laws. About the proposed luxury taxes or the higher taxes proposed by alternative parties and wants to leave the country, then I say, let them go. Bosses may lose a client or two, but that's too bad. Fourthly, he tried to argue that the Singapore system is a fairer system with a low-income tax regime. Now, as you all know, Singapore now has no estate, for a long time has had no capital gains tax. Who benefits from that? The wealthy. The poor, on the other hand, pay GST even on their water conservation tax. So they pay tax on tax. This is really not fair. This may be good for business and for some of you, but I don't really think it's fair. To be fair to DPM Tharman, though, I think that he needs more opposition voices in Parliament to push him even more towards a fairer and more just regime. Finally, he agreed universal health care without causing a real burden on the middle class. Now let me tell you something. There is a small city-state located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. There was a study from the World Health Organization in August 1960. The Minister for Health at the time was Encik Ahmad Ibrahim, who has been largely forgotten except for a road going into Jurong. And the director with a responsibility of the government, with a mass of the population entitled to it without personal cost. The medical personnel are salaried employees of the government and most of the hospital facilities are governmental, general revenues. Private practice exists for a small upper income segment of the population, especially in the city area. That state, of course, was Singapore during the 1960s, when there was opposition in Parliament. And the PAP government had to deliver on its promises to put people above profits. The PAP then is different from the PAP now. And more opposition voices in Parliament to remind them of their past, to remind them who put them there in the first place, the people of Singapore. Finally, I would like to move on to the topic of immigration. The SDP is not against immigration. Enrich the diversity of Singapore's commercial, cultural, and civic life. We do believe, however, that the infrastructure has to be in place first before you let in masses of population, rather than the other way around. Quality immigration that protects the rights of the immigrants as much as it protects the local born population. My own grandfather came to the Strait Settlements at the age of 11 to become the principal of ACS in Penang. He went on to Singapore, furthered his studies. He got a PhD from the University of London for a thesis on bilingual education, published in 1939. During the Second World War, he continued to serve Singapore in many diverse ways, although many of my cousins have migrated because of the economic and other problems here in Singapore. His youngest daughter, she has been my inspiration in my fight for social justice. Her favorite verses from the Bible are from Proverbs 31. She often told us, "Speak out on behalf of the voiceless, of all who are vulnerable. Speak out in order to judge with righteousness and to defend the needy and the poor." My mother was initially, there are only 11 of us running in this election. Like the PAP and the other opposition candidates, we are not perfect. We are not saints. We in the SDP are just ordinary people with a heart. With our alternative policies, we have benchmarks. Benchmarks which we can use to help ensure social justice. We can be a check on the PAP government. We had a strong opposition in Parliament. We can make them accountable to you, the people of Singapore. We can help increase questions on the issues that matter to Singaporeans, the cost of relation. Vote for us on Friday. Put a cross by the rocket. Make us your voice.
It's a hot day, so please give yourselves a round of applause for staying till now. Thank you. It's a hot day, so we're actually giving out umbrellas, especially to the right side because they're right under the sun. And if you have those umbrellas, please use them. Please use them to cover your neighbors, which I'm sure you are doing right now. And after the rally, after you're done with it, please return it to us at the merchandise booth. Or you can buy it and support as well as people to help us on our walkabouts. Imagine all of you doing walkabouts with us throughout Singapore. What would that be like? 10 on! Alright. Okay. Now for our next speaker, LUNCHTIME.
Thank you, my friends. $4 billion might sound like a lot, but let me put it in perspective for you. It is the same amount of money that the market holdings offered in 2014 in a highly questionable investment in All Out International. which was a debt-ridden company, market watchers and investors almost across the board decried the move. $4 billion is also the amount that Temasek paid, if you remember, for Fiscal. It was an investment that ultimately ended up in smoke. Madam Ho Chee, the CEO of Temasek and wife of Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, came under intense fire for not doing due diligence in the matter. And if you still think that $4 billion is a lot of money, then wait till you hear this. In 2008, the GIC and Temasek admitted that they had lost a combined sum of $120 to $140 billion. They had lost the amount in the investments in Western banks like Citigroup, UBS, Merrill Lynch, and Barclays. And all this happened when the U.S. financial system went into a meltdown in 2008. This is despite warnings from observers like Warren Buffett and Nouriel Rubin. Even billionaire investor Mr. Jim Rogers had warned, and I quote, "It grieves me to see that Singapore is doing what Singapore is doing. They," and he was referring to GIC and Temasek, "are going to lose money," unquote. And in the second half of 2007, just before it happened, Swiss Bank, UBS, had written off $33 billion due to bad debt and exposure to the U.S. subprime crisis. Despite this, the GIC incredibly injected nearly US $10 billion into the bank in December that year. 4 months later, just 4 months later, UBS wrote down another $19 billion. And then the GIC made another investment of about $6.9 billion. I don't know why number 6.9 so much. But they made another $6.9 billion US in January of 2008. This time in Citigroup. Within months, the bank collapsed and had to be rescued by a bailout of more than $300 billion from the US government. Not to be outdone, Temasek Holdings announced in July 2007 that it had invested $4.5 billion in Barclays Bank. That same year, the bank announced a $2.7 billion write-down. Temasek also invested in Merrill Lynch, investing $5 billion in the bank in 2008. That same year, the bank went bust and had to be overtaken by the Bank of America. All four banks, Citi, UBS, Merrill Lynch, and Barclays, had all invested in the Bernie Madoff scam. What were they thinking in the GIC and Temasek? And mind you, sometimes we lose track of the fact that this is all our money, our CPF reserves, our foreign reserves. Where is it all going? Where has it all gone to? Let me give you an idea. Mr. John Thain, he was the CEO at that time of Merrill Lynch. Mr. Thain had spent $1.2 million of his company
to renovate his office. 1.2 million just to renovate his office, including, and now all this is in US dollars, including $87,000 for a rug, $25,000 for a table, another $87,000 for office, $35,000 for a commode. That's fundable to you and I. You get this. $1,400 for a waste paper basket. That's where our money went to. And then, when the PAP tells us that it is going to increase our healthcare, Medicare Life, and put $4 billion into it, that's like $3 billion US. It starts tooting its horn in cartwheels. Now Dr. Balakrishnan wants to lecture the SDP on tax and spend. In the meantime, hospitals face repeated shortages of beds and have to put patients along hospital corridors and makeshift tents. You may have experienced yourselves. You may have gone to the hospital or brought your elderly parent to the hospital, and some of you have had to wait as long as sometimes 1 day for them to be admitted and get a bed in a ward. Priorities. Priorities. This government accuses us of coming up with policies of tax and spend. But what they will do is take our results and make all these failed investments and then tell us that they're going to increase our healthcare spending by $4 billion in 5 years. This is the kind of situation that we have when there is no effective opposition in Parliament, when there is no opposition to check on the PAP. And because there is no opposition in Parliament, effective opposition, the PAP does as it pleases, making dangerously wrong decisions without proper scrutiny and accountability. My fellow Singaporeans, I know that you care. You care that our elderly poor can cope with daily expenses. You care that 94-year-old Ng Soo Gek gets a free daily lunch, but she has to keep some of it aside because she cannot afford more. She says, I eat a little, and I split the meal into lunch and dinner. A 94-year-old having to save her lunch for dinner? You care about Chee giving her 3 children only biscuits for recess because she cannot afford anything else. She says, sometimes my children look down on themselves. You care about Tae Soon Kin, a cleaner who earns so little that he goes to the temple and eats 3 times a week to eat 3 meals so that he can save his income for his family. You care. I know you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have volunteered to be our polling and counting agents. Call me naive, but I believe in the innate goodness of human beings. I believe in my fellow Singaporeans. I believe that we are a good, compassionate people. We have been led astray. We have been told repeatedly that no one owes us a living. It's every man for himself. What you make is what you keep, and you don't share. No, that's not what we are about. If I have my way, that is what Singapore is going to be. Social and economic in Singapore is striking. It is ugly. I don't have to tell you. You've seen it for yourselves. We have the riches of the rich, and then we have our elderly having to collect cardboard to push to sell. In terms of income disparity, ours is one of the world's advanced economies. Now I want to make it very clear. I want to make very clear the SDP stand, and that no one misunderstands our position. We are not opposed to wealth, but wealth inequality. The widening income gap harms the common good. Wealth polarization brutalizes society. It erodes cohesiveness. It corrodes values that foster social togetherness. It fuels resentment and ultimately instability. You compare the level of well-being and happiness indicated by citizens. There is a very distinct trend. Societies that are more equal are the happier societies. For example, in South America, where there's a wide income disparity, where the rich live completely exclusively from the rest of society, you find that society goes up. Educate us. We've got to guard against that. Let me relate to you a story that an anthropologist told. He was playing with children in an African tribe, and he placed candy in a little basket at the foot of a tree, and he called the children to come and play this game. He explained to them that the children, once he gave the word go, all of them had to run to the tree and get the candy. The first one to arrive there will get all the candy. The children then all lined up, waiting for the signal to be said, go. All the children took each other by the hand, and they ran together towards the tree. They all arrived at the same time, divided up the candy, sat down, and happily enjoyed the candy together. The anthropologist couldn't understand why, so he asked, they all ran together, when any one of them could have had the candy all to themselves. The children responded, Ubuntu. They have one word in Africa called Ubuntu. How could any one of us be happy or sad? South African Archbishop, and I quote, one of the sayings in our country is Ubuntu. The essence of being Ubuntu speaks particularly about the fact that you cannot exist as a human being in isolation. It speaks about our interconnectedness. You can't be human all by yourself. Ourselves too frequently as individuals, separated from one another, whereas you are connected. And what you do affects the whole world, affects humanity. I know that compassion of my fellow Singaporeans. I've experienced it firsthand on numerous occasions. I sell my books, and it is a source of income for me and my family. I've been doing this for almost 20 years, since my first publication, Dare to Change. And I've been selling it from here, at Raffles Square Place. I'm sure many of you have seen me doing it over the years. I try to sell as many books as I can during elections, and that will have to tide us over for the next couple of years. So, shameless plug, please buy a copy today. I get fellowships or grants, sometimes fees for my contributions in book chapters and newspapers. They're not a lot, but enough to get by. And then there is you. You have come by and contributed, and that has made a difference. One afternoon, as I was speaking with my kids, and I was just doing right across the street, we turned around, that corner is where I was selling it. And I posted this picture of me and my son and daughter on my Facebook this morning. And I was selling it, and along came this gentleman. He walked up, and he said he wanted to buy a copy. So I signed the copy, and I passed it to him. He handed me a box. In it there was an ang pao. When I later on checked, there was a $10,000 note in there. I didn't get a chance to say a proper thank you, because by the time I opened the ang pao, he was, you know who you are, and I thank you. Throughout my life, my political life, there have been angels that have blessed us with their compassion. They're not always in terms of cash, but their deeds often give me the encouragement to go on with my work. I want to in particular cite you one example. His name is K.B. Pin, who produced the some people who are more cynical will say that today she drinks less milk, but maybe tomorrow she can have a better tomorrow. Yes, there are angels today. This is why I know that the wealthy in Bukit Timah will hear our message of compassion and the need for transparency and accountability, and vote for the SDP come Friday. We ask you to vote for the SDP because we are a party of character. I believe anytime that character is the most important trait that you need to look for in an MP. The PAP keeps suing the opposition. that we are going to get into Parliament and work on these issues that we promised you. That is something that we pledge to you. And this is what keeps me going. What has kept me going all these years. The fact that all of you care about what happens to the rest of us, about what happens to this country. That is enough to keep my colleagues and I in the SDP fighting. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all the support all these years. Thank you, and have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chee. Friends, fellow Singaporeans, do you believe in the SDP? Yeah. Will you vote for the SDP? Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Fellow Singaporeans, this campaign is not over. Like Dr. Chee said, we still have 5 more days. So please support us by going to our merchandise booths and buying some of our merchandise, or volunteer to be one of our polling or counting agents, or even to walk about with us. And now Dr. Chee will also be going to the stage right, on my right, and he'll be signing autographs. Okay, so please form an orderly line later, especially because we have a lot of elderly in our crowd, so please be careful, don't push, don't rush. Okay, everyone will get their autographs. Now, you have heard our speakers this afternoon, so please go back to your offices and tell them what you're seeing tonight. Our next rally will be tonight at the open field in front of Block 265 Towan Road at 7 p.m. Okay? It's in front of the open field, Block 265 Towan Road, 7 p.m. Please come in red. Okay? If you support us, please come in red. Okay? Good afternoon, and we'll see you tonight. Thank you.
Go higher ground. I have the blue. Maybe in blue. Is that right?
Online? Yes, it's you can check me on YouTube. So it's just a few quick questions. Alright. How do I take this?
I think.
Okay. Right, my first question to you is, why are you here?
Well, to support Dr. Chee. I think he deserves, he's been a while away for a long time, and honestly, when I was much younger, I also didn't think very much of him, I guess because of, the media and all. I think it shed the true light of Dr. Chee. And I've always wanted to attend a rally anyway, and I saw, Fullerton is a lot more convenient. I don't really like crowds, but I think this crowd is better managed.
What I'm referring to what Dr. Tamdia said just now. Do you agree that Singapore needs a more progressive tax system, that our tax system right now is not progressive enough?
I think it's quite complicated. I think it can be improved. I don't want to comment too much on this right now, but I'm sure there are certain areas that can be better processed. But I'll leave that to the experts.
How about what Dr. Chee said? He mentioned that the government has been mismanaging Singapore's foreign reserves by investing in poor companies.
Okay. I think this I'll leave it to the experts, but I think if it's in the press, and it's credible, then I would say that, well, I think we just need to respect how it was published. But again, I'll prefer to leave that to the experts. I mean, I don't want to sound, but it's not really my field, at least for now. Yeah.
Okay, something that is your field. Do you think your vote is secret?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I like to choose to believe so. It's democratic. I think if you want to ask me, what his speech was really about, I think it's the next wave. I think Singapore lacks compassion. It's a first-class city, but it's not first-class in benevolence, kindness, and charity. That's something I'd like to see more in Singapore. So if that's the way it's going, it may have my vote. But if it's going to be still very hard-hitting, but first class in comfort, monetary, but these passes away. But like what he says, character is important, and I think Singaporeans have that tenacity, and I think we see that in Dr. Chee. So yeah, I hope that all Singaporeans would, in a way, mirror that kind of tenacity which we had in the past. He had that tenacity, but I think over time the progress was a little too fast. We just need to slow down just a little bit, not slowing down completely, just a little bit. And I think even I just recently read a poster that even the late minister said in 1979. I can show it to you if you want me to read it. This is excellent. And I just think that the progress...
Talking about Minister
yes, Mentor Lee, the late Mr. Lee. I posted it on Facebook, actually. So he said this, actually. And you can lift it up on internet somewhere. It says in 5 years, and this was in 1979, you will have 120,000. In 10 years, 250,000. He's talking about population growth, as in foreign talents. They are good workers, the foreign talents, workers. They are hungry, they're lean, they're keen. But I have a responsibility to you. In 10 years, can we digest so many? So that's talking about 1989. But we're already in 2000. Cultural, linguistic, social, and political problems.
Do you mind flipping it for the camera? This page.
But my name is there.
Okay, that is okay.
Yeah,
you can find it online.
You can find it online, I've been following his speeches on YouTube. Like I said, I'm my first time in a rally. Ordinarily, I won't actually come down, but since it's in town, I kind of made a trip down. It's worth it. I enjoyed the spirit. I think, definitely, it's a milestone in Singapore's political landscape. It's about time. It was a milestone in the 60s, 50s, not my time, but I believe they are the next wave of Singapore, and I'm very proud to be Singaporean and to be here today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, cheers. Can I just have your card? Hang on. Can I just give you my email in case there's anything, if there's any edits? How do I?
Contact us on
Okay. Okay. So, but do I get like a copy?
it's on YouTube, so
Oh, okay. It's gonna be online. Oh, okay. But if I want to edit anything,
anything that you find
I can get it.
On a smaller copy. You open up and you see. There's a lot of pen.
I'm actually part-timing, so you will find me there after elections.
Oh, is there a yourself? So in case something I'm not too comfortable, I think it's fair. I mean, I'm offering my... Let's go back again. That's you. Why don't I... You give me your stuff.
Sure. Yeah, give mine. Right.
And your name. Just in case something I'm not too comfortable. But if it's good, go ahead. And I said you yes, 909-20735. Okay, all right. Then give me a good cut. Good.
People in red. Those guys. Yeah. What's it to the minister? The minister. Anytime.
No, I have spoken to Attendee before, 2 times already, don't worry. And now, I think your 2 colleagues at Choa.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Thank you, Steady.
I know, but never see. Never see.
Haven't uploaded yet.
It's live stream. Live stream. At Choa live stream. I didn't know.
But you can, if you were to go now, you can still see because what
I always, on him also, you all talk to me before. I know you're very active, very good. See? And most of the SDP I attend. Workers' Party and then Tupa, I will be attending workers and Sing first.
Oh, okay. Okay, we go and hunt for more people.
I'm not putting up. I come here just to give support because
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Why is support?
Because I believe in their cause, I believe in what Dr. Smith
is doing. Uncle, very hot.
Some of them have been here even earlier than me.
Are you tired?
Of course, we are all tired, but we all bear it.
Can you tell me why do you support SDP?
Well, because I believe in them, I believe in their policies. I've been with Dr. Chee for a long time. I see the things he's gone through. I was not so happy about, but I understand why he do it. When gradually he has changed, he has truly behaved in cause he truly believes in. I also believe in what he's doing.
How long have you been supporting Dr. Chee?
Years already.
Wow.
Since the early days.
And you've seen improvement?
Yes, I've seen improvement because I work with him. I see he's so really open. He's really really prepared to discuss.
Are you guys confident of taking the next GRC?
I must have confidence. I must show the confidence. If I come out into this, I must have the confidence.
Okay, thank you, Uncle.
Right? Thanks.
Okay. I look huh? Yeah. Okay, you look good. What do you want me to say? Okay, my first question is, why are you here?
Yeah.
What you have to say?
Yeah, I'm interested to know what he has to offer for Singaporeans. Yeah, in this coming election. Yeah.
So what was your main takeaway after listening to him?
Yes, I think he speaks well, and I think Singaporeans should give him a chance. Yeah.
Do you agree
to
with
represent
him
us?
That we need a more compassionate country?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm very touched by his stories. I mean, what he said. Yeah.
Give me one example.
Yeah, about the children and the sweets that we all need to share. Yeah, to be happy.
He also mentioned that the government has been mismanaging Singapore's foreign reserves. Are you convinced about what he said?
I won't be able to comment because we do not know the exact details. Yeah. Until if he is voted in, he goes to Parliament and then he's able to show us and prove to us. Yeah.
Do you live in Holland Bukit Timah?
No, I just to hear him speak.
From Changi?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the postcard? Postcard. Pass her. Yeah, pass her. So she can watch. Yeah.
No, I think so you will come on.
Yeah, we are independent. This on YouTube. Yeah. You can check yourself out. On YouTube, you can find us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. one last person. You want to ask the candidate?
Okay, come.
Can I? I'm supposed to consult Mansoor. No, I'm not supposed to consult Mansoor. Can I because we have instruction to check with the party in charge of
communication.
You want to talk to them?
We try to accommodate you next round.
You want to sign up?
Huh?
You want to sign up?
How about we find one young
That's what I saw.
Okay, Uncle, first question, why are you here?
I come here to support all the rallies organized by all the parties. All over I go.
Wow.
Sometimes one night go two rallies.
Xiong eh.
Yeah, if I can, the distance is not too far, I will try to.
Doing this.
I'm supporting transparency, hoping that this opposition will go balance up the seats in parliaments, so they will have more transparency.
So far, which opposition party do you think is the best?
I think the best this time round I see most of them very best. So many years I'm observing this time out most